Okay, well, you're not a crab. You didn't just flop into that body. You created that body, for better or for worse. Oh, is her body having a hard time regulating its insulin levels? Interesting. You dumb doctor. You don't know anything about this surgery. I mean, you don't know anything about the human body. It's not like you went to medical school. I'm not going to be successful if I have to change my diet and my habits. That's what she told this person. If I have to make big changes in my life, I'm not going to be successful. What is it they say about insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So one of the reasons I think Anna is so harmful to society at large is that the things that she says and the things that she shares, it does get disseminated out to smaller communities, especially the fat acceptance, healthy at every size communities, and it keeps people sick, it keeps people fat, it keeps people in a disordered behavior pattern, thinking pattern. And so some of these people are the Fab Fatties. They have 1.49k subscribers on YouTube. They're a little podcast here, and this particular episode has 2,555 views as of today, December 4th, 2025. This was published January 22nd, 2025. So while there's not a huge reach, it's still someone. Episode 41, Why Fat People Avoid the Doctor, the nuance of, quote, health and compassionate care. The things you're going to hear are, one, the same kinds of talking points that Anna herself said that she had to deal with when she finally went to the doctor again. And two, she even says these are things echoed by the fat acceptance, healthy at every size community, and that it's harmful. These kinds of things are harmful. And the other thing that you're going to see is that they take everything incredibly personally. They go to the doctor. Doctors are experts in the human body, experts in treating disease, experts on things we could do to live healthier, longer, better quality lives. And so they go to the doctor and they have some ailment, they have some concern or some issue. And if a doctor mentions their weight, they feel attacked. The ways that they talk about how they feel about this, they try to put the blame on the doctor, on society, on the medical healthcare system, when they are refusing to accept that it's actually, could even possibly maybe be their weight. So we're just going to watch a little bit of this. I think it's a good place to get a taste of how people like Anna can influence more people. So let's get started here. They just kind of give an intro. Let's look at the mindset. Let's look at the talking points. Let's look at that kind of thing. It's not them, okay? It's what they're saying and what they're promoting, what the bigger picture is. Here we go.
And we are going to just talk authentically about our experiences. It's also really scary to talk about. So, we are taking a few deep breaths here in the studio, and it's scary to put yourself out here like this.
Yeah. I mean, I think for so many fat people, going to the doctor is scary on its own.
Yes.
Because so much of our health is weaponized against us. And if we talk about anything that is deemed poor health, if we talk about anything that we're experiencing, it can often be turned towards us as a way to prove a point about our existence, about our health, about our bodies, about the way we care.
Okay, so right there is a perfect example. If we go to the doctor, they are going to use our weight as a weapon against us. It's not a weapon, it's the truth. And the doctors are not saying that you are a person without value. They aren't saying you don't deserve treatment or healthcare or concern or compassion. But what they are saying is that the problem is related to your weight. And this kind of victimization, it's part of the problem.
For ourselves, etc. And what happens is it keeps health in a deep, dark, shameful closet that we do not feel empowered to talk about with our friends and loved ones and with professionals.
No, they don't feel empowered to take control and responsibility and accountability. That's what it is. Being a fat person doesn't make you a morally bad person. It means you eat too much, you don't move enough. That's it. And you can change that. You can change that. I mean, you might still be a horrible person. I don't know, but it's not going to be because of your weight. They are the ones projecting all of this. I have many friends who are doctors. Do you want to know what they care about? They care about treating their patients. And a great doctor will say, let's get your diet under control. for whatever reason. This is standard care for people. It just is.
To recognize that every single person and every single body type faces health issues, but they don't all experience the same reception of those health issues. And
see, and there's also, I'm a special snowflake. These people think I'm one of a subset of people in the world with super rare obesity genes. That for me, cutting out calories, reducing my caloric intake doesn't do anything, because I've tried that and nothing happened. It didn't work. I couldn't do it.
Every shape, every size, every gender, every color, everything deals with health and medical issues. Also applies that everyone deserves
Healthcare.
And no one is disputing that at all. No one. But when some of the healthcare is going to be a doctor telling you you need to lose weight, that is still healthcare. It might hurt your feelings. For that, you need to go see a psychologist or counselor, therapist.
Think about a time whenever I had to advocate for myself and it wasn't positive. I got a lot of pushback. And this is, again, like the story that will be weaponized against me is this story. We had just gone through COVID, where we were very much housebound, and I was going back to working on campus. I work at a university. You don't park in front of your building and walk right in.
No, girl.
No. I was struggling to breathe. I was struggling to walk the distance and without having to take multiple breaks. And one of the things that I thought, okay, I am getting so exhausted getting into work. There's something that will benefit this, will help this situation. And so I thought, in this moment, I can't get into work without elevating my blood pressure, all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I just...
Without your cardiovascular system experiencing exercise? Is that what you're saying? Is that you're walking and your heart rate is elevating because that's actually taxing your system to do more? That's a healthy thing for you. It's kind of concerning that she's essentially having a cardiovascular, workout, just walking from her car to her office. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I was
going to go to the doctor and ask for a temporary disability pass. And let me tell you, asking for a disability pass and them seeing it as only due to your size is not a fun activity to do. I described what was happening. I told her, hey, I had looked up what qualifies for this, and one of them is being unable to walk a certain distance. I'm not able to do that without multiple breaks, without having to stop to get breath control back, etc. And she said, I don't want to give this to you because it will enable you.
That's not necessarily an unreasonable thing. If somebody is having all of those issues, what do you think the line of treatments are going to be? Don't lose weight? We'll just give you an inhaler? No. Excess body fat requires your body to do more work. It also puts increased pressure on those organs that are already struggling to do more work. So how can we change that? Well, you can lose weight, which will put less pressure on your organs and your body as a whole system. That will help you. This is not an outlandish thing for the doctor to have said. If she needs some temporary albuterol or some kind of breathing treatments to help strengthen her lungs again as this is happening, fine. Obviously, I don't want people to suffer through these things. But I'm on board with the doctor here. It would enable her to just keep thinking she doesn't need to change anything about her life. Untrue.
My God.
Yeah. She's like,
how dare she suggest you lose weight?
You need to deal with this problem, which is your weight. And if I do this for you, you don't have to. And
Ding, ding, ding.
And I'm sure there's people, I don't care, whatever. I went in knowing that. And this is what was in my toolbox. Well, this is where I'm currently at this very moment. And it qualifies for these things. Okay. And I can work on those things, but I'm not going to magically be able to do this if I were to go along with your idea that they need to be worked on, right? I need to be able to get to work safely, and that does include...
So then in those 2 to 3 months where she's supposed to be working on these things, after that time frame, and if nothing has changed, what then? What's going to be your excuse then? What are you going to tell your doctor then? Because that's my next thing is a lot of times these people are just looking to kick the can down the road a little bit. That's why they go doctor shopping, because they don't want the next time they go see this person to be, yeah, I guess these other things didn't work. Maybe now we should try losing weight, because they don't want that to have to be the answer. They look for every excuse, every avenue besides that being the thing, every time.
My body and my body's ability to get me there, and being able to park closer will help me get to my workplace safely. I can't not go to work. And then ultimately, when she was pushing back again, I said, okay, so I would like you to put it in my notes of this meeting that you have denied me this thing due to you feeling like it
will enable me.
As soon as I said I wanted it in the notes, she said, let me go talk to this other doctor on staff. Go ahead. Okay?
You know what? She was probably like, oh, this is just going to be a problem. I don't want this on me. I'll go see if this other doctor's fine doing it. I would fire her as a patient if I were that doctor, to be completely honest. This is someone who wants to go into their doctor's office and tell their doctor what prescriptions to write them, what diagnoses they have, how to treat anything they have. They don't want to hear what the doctor has to say. They just want the doctor to use their doctory, abilities to do what they want them to do. This is an obnoxious patient. I would have fired this patient.
Talks to the other doctor, comes back. I'm going to sign this for you, but I really think you need weight loss surgery. And I said, well, I've looked into weight loss surgery before, and I was turned away because of X, Y, and Z. She goes, oh, I really don't know what is required for you to have weight loss surgery. And that's that thing.
I'm calling BS on all of this. I'm calling BS on all of it. Completely. This is such nonsense. I highly doubt that this is how that whole thing went. Other than the doctor being like, yeah, you need to try to lose some weight first.
I said, so in your mind, you had a solution for me that you actually know nothing about. You know nothing about the surgery itself. You know nothing about this. You just assume that that's the magic answer to...
You dumb doctor. You don't know anything about this surgery. What? I mean, you don't know anything about the human body. It's not like you went to medical school.
The issue at hand. It did a lot of damage that day, and it carried a lot of shame because I think in general...
Good. Shame has a place in society, and this is it.
I think advocating for disability harder when someone assumes that disability as your fault. Like she absolutely saw...
But she's assuming that her, quote, disability, that she has zero responsibility in it. She's assuming that her disability has nothing to do with the fact that she is morbidly obese. And that is false. It's just plain false. It's always somebody else's fault if something goes wrong. It's somebody else's responsibility to fix it, to change it. But she takes zero accountability. Zero.
That as I did this to myself, etc., right? Versus just understanding there was no way for me to get past the issue I was having without some support. And I think she saw it as enabling. I saw it as support for me to living a healthy lifestyle, which would be being able to go to work and not have my blood pressure and my breath go out of sorts.
It's called cardiovascular conditioning. It would have improved as you continued to do it. That's how this works.
Get there.
Also think about the mental toll that was taking, knowing what you were dealing with every time that you were going to work.
Yeah, obesity is really bad for you, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. You're absolutely right.
Like what you knew that you were having to prepare yourself for and going to work. It's so invalidating, and it's so like, why is it wrong to ask you to care that I do want to participate in this world as best as I can?
Because you're asking them to support your continued super morbid obesity. Not that you can't have support while you're trying to change that, but this woman is like not wanting to take any accountability, not even entertain the idea that losing some weight could improve her situation. Like, it can't be that. It can't be that. It can never, ever be that. Can't be that.
What if my breath control didn't get better? I'm just what?
You'd struggle to breathe. That's what happens when you're super morbidly obese.
You just want to punish me. You want to make sure I feel it. You want to make sure I struggle to get to work so that I know it's my fault. Like, what does that mean, right?
No, I don't think people want you to struggle or suffer, but I think that they really also want you to realize You have control over this situation. It's you. Your discomfort, your struggling, your issues, you have control over these things. It doesn't have to be this way. You have control.
Right? Like, what do you want for me to then experience? Hardship going to work? Scary moments where I can't catch my breath? That's what you want me to experience because it's my fault?
I don't know how much more of this I can take. People urging them to understand they have control, take some accountability. You don't have to suffer just to suffer. But guess what? If you want to get through this and deal with the issues that you obviously need to deal with, it is going to be uncomfortable. You are going to experience things that bring you discomfort because that's how you break things down and then you rebuild better versions of them. You rebuild a better body for yourself. You rebuild a better mindset for yourself. Breaking down those things, it's not painless. It's not. But it's the only way you can actually change things. It's just they are jumping through hoops to not have to do that. Mind-blowing.
To summarize everything, you can be healthy and you can be unhealthy at any size. And today we are just...
False. That's false. There's a normal range, and then there are two extremes of that, and those are unhealthy extremes. So that's absolutely false, and this narrative is delusional.
Talking about experiences, fat-phobic experiences that we have had in medical treatment facilities.
I don't know. Let's have a conversation.
I don't know which one this one is, but the smugness is really obnoxious. She really thinks she's like onto something. She really thinks that she has been wronged by the medical system and that she is healthy. She has convinced herself. This is why I'm so interested in making these videos, because delusion. Human beings are so good at lying to themselves, and then they can spread it.
Yes, health looks different to everybody, and no one owes health to anyone. We all have one life to live. As soon as you figure out that you don't have to live it for anybody else, that's when it becomes the most fun, I think.
It's probably most fun though when you actually live it for yourself by taking care of yourself. It might be fun to not exercise and lay around all day and eat whatever you want, but you're not actually living your best life. You're actually creating not a very good long-term plan for yourself.
I am so passionate about, autonomy and agency. I can't tell anybody what to do with their body, with their mental health. I think we often get infantilized, treated like children, and we as in fat people very often get talked to as if, oh, I've never heard, just eat less, run more, Oh, I've never heard, have you tried losing weight?
Right, well, something isn't landing there. So we're just throwing a whole bunch of things and seeing what sticks,
And I just think that it can look so different to everybody what health means. So I'm never going to say you owe it to someone. You just owe it to yourself to be the happiest version of yourself. And
I feel very, very strongly that the word health is really triggering because of diet culture. And I am actively flipping that off.
Yeah, health. Like, your lungs should behave a certain way. And when you have a lot of excess adipose tissue crushing your lungs, it makes it harder for them to work in a healthy way. Same with your heart. Same with your hormones in your body from your endocrine system. Your body is a system. It's a whole system. And if you add a bunch of extra fat to that system, everything gets gummed up. Even their voices. People who are super morbidly obese like that, they have deeper voices because you have excess fat tissue in your throat. Your body is a system.
I think health sometimes for someone can look like sleeping on the couch all day. I think for someone else it could look like going to the gym in the morning. I think for someone else it could be eating a brownie for dessert that night. So I think the word health has just been weaponized is to redefine what health means.
Is to redefine what words mean. To redefine the definitions of things. That has helped her, okay? Let's just put that out there. We're not just redefining what these words mean so you can feel better about not changing your behaviors. Great.
Some days for my health, I'm taking a day off of work and I'm laying in bed. You know, none of the way that I view the word health comes from diet culture anymore.
Do you know, I think when these people use the term toxic diet culture, they're essentially talking about the other extreme of this. And that is not what I advocate for at all. It's about an appropriate amount of food for the size that you are, the size that you want to be. The BMI is flawed, but it is still whatever it says your healthy BMI is, it's not going to be 50 pounds more than that.
There's an aspect of owing it to the people who love you and you love to take care of yourselves. I know that that is tricky and that is icky, and there is multiple levels to that.
I don't think that that's icky. I actually think that, especially if you have children, you do owe it to them to be there for them, to take care of yourself. And because this is also relating to Anna, and Anna, how she affects this whole movement and community at large, let's not forget that her mom passed away when Anna was, I believe, in high school from obesity-related diseases. I wonder what that did for Anna. I wonder how that impacted her life. I wonder how that impacted her sister's life, the sister who would also later die from obesity-related diseases. You know, I was watching that video of Anna, what she ate on Thanksgiving through the whole day, and it was really sad to see that she was filming from her phone on a tripod because, you know, her camera person, John, was probably on his honeymoon or something. She had her dog and she had food. And that was how she spent her entire day. Eating. And then watching TV with her dog. That's really sad. That's who you owe it to. At the very least, yourself.
I have seen some of my closest loved ones struggle so desperately and horribly with their mental health. And you can reach out a hand and you can want to help them, but you can't unless they want to help themselves, right?
You see how interesting it is that they have some clarity, but blind spots when it comes to other things? It's quite interesting.
I just want to encourage people to redefine that definition for themselves. And I feel strong about that because of the difference it has made for me in my life.
You can make words say or mean whatever you want them to, that you can twist them so that they no longer really have any meaning at all for you. But what you're objectively discussing, those facts don't change. You can call it health, you can call it happiness, but at the end of the day, it's your weight. And if yours is too high, your body is going to have issues and your health will be impacted.
Because fuck diet culture.
And what I said before you started talking, I believe people owe themselves happiness. And happiness can look many different ways. In a version of, if I tell someone that they owe their health, quotation marks, to themselves or to their families or to their loved ones, that means they have to be skinny.
No.
And I realized that.
There is a difference between skinny and healthy. And they keep talking about being harmed by diet culture. Do they mean a crash diet? Do they mean excessive restricting? Because yeah, that's not healthy. But neither is the other side of that.
Before,
yes.
Right?
By the way, too, happiness to me is not walking outside, but it was walking through the mall with my friends.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah. I keep thinking about my dad. There was a big notion in my family. Everybody felt very comfortable talking about my dad. And that generally meant that he owed a smaller body. He really owed himself was happiness.
Okay, so it sounds like her dad was in a, quote, bigger body, big enough that other people are regularly discussing that he should probably lose weight. And he also wasn't happy. And he owed himself happiness, but she's now trying to equate this happiness he owes himself with being in a smaller body? Okay, interesting. That's interesting. I wonder if she's still going to talk about, you know, how she's talking about missing her dad and how hurt she is that he's gone. It sounds like probably because of a weight-related issue. If maybe he owed her something. Because didn't she just say she's not going to tell anyone to do anything because they don't owe it to anyone? I don't know. That's quite the conundrum.
I don't think he got a chance to explore what that meant to him because he just kept getting told that your happiness is dependent on living in a smaller body.
Yeah. And from medical providers, he was told that.
You know, I have a lot of regrets when it comes to my dad. There's just so many layers to him and who he was that I only get to learn now that he's gone. I didn't know any of this when I still had him. I wish I did, because there were times in my life where I was mad at him because he wasn't pursuing quote unquote help.
I feel for you, because it can feel really
Sad, frustrating.
It's really sad and frustrating. You're empowered in one sense, but you can't change this thing, right?
Yes, you can. You can change it. You can't change that your dad's dead, but you can change the trajectory that you're on by doing the thing he couldn't do. Don't let her tell you you can't. Yes, you can.
We can't go back in time and know what we know now. As much as that learning may not have helped him, I am sure that there is something about a legacy of his story helping you with yours. Seeing what happened with him and changing it for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. By losing weight sooner rather than later. They are saying it. Or is that not what they are saying? This is insane. Make it make sense.
And what a gift to get from learning from your dad.
He was a special person that was only seen for his size. Mm-hmm. And he was so much more than that.
We are.
I think that reveals a lot about what she feels about herself. She feels like she's only seen for her size. And maybe if she were to lose weight, what else would people have to see in her? What else would she have to engage with the world with? If she can't use her weight as the shield that people are going to be looking at, what are they going to be looking at? I think it really reveals much more about her than it does about her dad.
All so much more than that.
It's hard to find a medical professional who wants and takes the time to see the whole picture. Doesn't just look at the weight and say XYZ, or even finding a doctor who doesn't look at weight as meaning one thing. Yeah. What are some ways you found yourself advocating for yourself?
Oh, I do not get on the scale anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you don't, because that would give you a concrete number about your weight. Now, your weight does not reflect anything about your value, about anything. Do you know what it reflects? Your weight on planet Earth, your mass. That's what it reflects. And understanding that, it's important to know. But no. If we don't know what our weight is, it won't be a problem. It won't be an issue. And even if you knew it, why would it matter? Because it's not like you could change it. You're helpless in that regard.
Not get on the scale. They know that they can ask me for very specific things. Anesthesia, of course, they need to know my weight and things like that. They cannot put it in my chart online. I cannot have access to it. And yeah, I skip over that entire portion.
Okay. I have various times in my life gone through recovery for an ED. It is important for everybody, but especially for people in recovery for these kinds of things, to be able to healthfully interact with those kinds of things. I didn't know my weight for a long time because I still had this thing where I felt like if I knew, I wouldn't be able to then control my actions that happened afterward. It would make me feel a certain way about myself, that feeling, the emotions just overcame me, were so uncomfortable that I would make a decision, take an action that could be harmful. And what happens when you finally take real control is you're able to understand that it is simply a number. And how I react to the number, I get to control that too. It is just a number on a scale. I can learn things from it. I'm not chasing a certain number, but if all of a sudden I were to gain or lose 5 or 10 pounds like in a week, that's concerning. I would first reflect on, well, what have I done over this week? Was it Thanksgiving? Or have I been out doing things that I just have not been eating as much? And if I can't find a reason, then I'm going to contact my doctor. But if you are one of these people who is still so afraid to step on the scale because it makes you either feel bad about yourself or because your day becomes like good or bad based on what the scale says, these kinds of reasons, I encourage you to explore that. Possibly working with a therapist if that is something available to you. Kick that around in your brain. All of these EDs have to do with feeling like you're in control. How was I in so much control when just reading a number off of a scale could completely change my actions, could completely change the way I felt about myself, could completely change long-term my life. That's not control. That is being at the mercy of disordered thoughts, patterns, behaviors. So what these people think is being in control is not. All they are doing is preventing feeling an emotion, preventing dealing with the things they need to deal with, so that seeing that number on the scale, regardless of what it is, no longer causes you to have an emotional reaction. That is the work. That's where you need to get to. Dealing with this is a process. It is emotional. It's not linear. It can be really difficult, but it is possible.
I had just gone to the OB to start asking questions about starting a family and what that looks like, and I did not get on the scale there. It was my first time at the office. I said no thank you. And the doctor, because Dr. Everett's the best, called ahead and had a conversation with this doctor before she saw me.
Which is amazing allyship.
She bumpered her feelings. This is what she did. This is how desperate some doctors are for these people to seek medical care, that they feed into these illusions like enough to get these people to just go to the doctor, to maybe hopefully eventually make a positive change for themselves.
But she called ahead and spoke to the OB before I went. And the OB was talking with me, you know, that we talk about weight a lot in pregnancy to gauge the growth of the baby. We might need to figure out, you know, how we can do that safely. Is there a different way that we need to, you know, so that we're not triggering certain behaviors?
But by all means, before you've dealt with all of your issues, let's bring a baby into the mix. Please, people, deal with your shit before you bring a child into this freaking world, okay? Like, for real. A really big factor in me finally successfully recovering from my stuff was when I was pregnant, because now my body actually needed to support this other human being who had absolutely no choice in being here, and I was going to do the best I could for her. I'm going to give her the best possible start, and because I love her and I'm her parent, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be here for her, as healthy as I can be, for as long as I possibly can be. If you can't get your act together for your child like that, don't bother bringing them into the world.
Forget about everything anyone has ever taught you about health and diet culture.
Don't listen to this woman, for God's sake. Please do not listen to this woman.
We see the stories from folks in larger bodies being like, oh, I went for knee pain and I was prescribed weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you have excess weight that you're carrying around all day long on your joints, yeah, I would probably recommend weight loss as well.
When were you most caught off guard by a weight loss prescription from a doctor?
I was in high school going to my family physician I had seen for forever. I was probably pretty young. I don't know what I was going there for. If I were to guess, potentially heavy periods.
Okay.
The doctor very casually said, well, have you thought about having weight loss surgery? And
right to surgery.
Yeah. And I would say as an adult, I was also told to have weight loss surgery. And then I asked her, because at that point in time, I had already looked into it a couple times. And I was like, okay, but I don't qualify in XYZ ways. And she had no idea any of that. So I was like, okay, so you just saw fat equals, say, weight loss surgery. Like, she didn't actually know anything about weight loss surgery. And as soon as I asked her a couple questions, I was like, got it. Understood.
It was after my dad passed away. It was after, I left my marriage. I was just not in a good place. I was very quickly and inexplicably losing weight. I was losing my hair.
You were probably depressed. You were probably eating less. And as you ate less, that also could have been affecting your hormones and or nutrition. And sometimes you experience weight loss. That's what it is. And stress. This is a relatively normal thing if somebody has just lost a parent or another loved one and experienced something like a divorce. This is not surprising.
I was unintentionally, there was no dieting, I wasn't doing anything to make any of that happen. Every doctor that I went to, every single one, congratulations. I feel fucking terrible and you're telling me congratulations. So that to me told me all you see.
I also highly doubt that doctors are like, congratulations, when there's unexplained weight loss. I'm sure there was maybe like a, hey, it looks like you lost a couple pounds. Great job. That's not quite the same though. I'm always so skeptical. It's what they perceived happen. It's the story that they've been telling themselves about what happened.
I'm just trying to imagine going to a dentist, like, hey, this tooth is turning a different color, and they're like, well, I like the decoration of it. Let's look at your other teeth. You know?
Right?
Like, they get to decide if it's a good or bad thing, regardless of you coming in to address that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I think more what she's talking about is like somebody had a tooth like that and they go into the doctor and they're like, I have pain in my mouth. And the dentist is like, yeah, it's probably that tooth that's not in good shape. We need to address that. And then saying,
I can't believe you've made this all about this one tooth. My whole mouth hurts. God.
I think that's actually more what she means here.
Exactly.
I'm embarrassed to admit mine
Don't be.
because it feels very shameful. I have these like little bumps on my arms, like up at the top. It's really common apparently.
I do too.
Okay. And I went to a dermatologist. I went in and she never asked me why I was there. She went straight to the acne on my face. She went, great, let's do something about this. And then
Well, if you had the bumps on your arms, we typically, when we meet someone, say hello to their face and not the back of their arms. Okay. It's also your responsibility to advocate for yourself, okay? You're also a teenager with acne going to a dermatologist. Probably a pretty safe bet to assume it's the acne on your face. And you could say, yeah, and also the bumps on my arm. Also, your skin is the largest organ that you have, and we do not exist in a vacuum. Your weight affects your skin.
she went and then she like finished up telling me all about like my skincare, my face. And she went, great, so what are we doing about the weight? My mom was there in the room and like just literally, completely froze.
I mean, I guess I could see for them why it would be so upsetting to go get medical care because they are still in a state of denial that your weight can actually affect a lot of different things about your overall health and your body. They're just really upset about that. They're really upset about it, but it's just reality.
My skin checked out and stuff, and I literally cannot get myself to go. I scheduled an appointment, I canceled it. As a fat person, when you're going to the doctor, you like prepare yourself.
You do.
Right? You're like ready for it. You like you know how you want to answer the questions. Like I literally was there for bumps on my arms and we never even talked about it.
This is such nonsense. It's like they already know somewhere deep down that the problem might possibly have something to do with their size and their weight. And they know that, and they have to brace themselves for when that is called out for the truth that it is. And it makes them uncomfortable, and they don't want to hear it. They want the doctor to find something else. This is just like Anna. This is just like Anna. They're looking for any excuse, any reason, anything at all, why the issue is not their weight and their excessive caloric intake. This is what that is.
It's, I told the doctor I had knee pain and they prescribed weight loss, right?
Yep.
It's constantly being invalidated. It's constantly being unseen, unheard, and saying, hey, I also deserve medical care for the things that I care about without.
And I agree, but you are not entitled to having your delusions validated. You're not. That is not the role of a medical professional doing their job correctly and ethically. It's not. It's in your best interest, number one, to listen to your doctor. Number two, but to understand that their job is not there to coddle your feelings or validate your delusions.
You taking one look at me and thinking weight loss is going to solve all of my problems.
And my dad looked at me one time and he goes, somewhere out there is the world's worst doctor. And I was like, damn, you're so right. Just because they're a doctor does not mean that they know everything.
But I'm going to go ahead and guess they know more than you. A not doctor who's morbidly obese, pretending like her weight has nothing to do with everything else in her life, with any other health issues you might have. Okay.
Those are usually the doctors that insurance companies are calling up to say, hey, do we have a valid reason to deny this claim?
Look, the healthcare system in America is not great, but this is getting conspiracy area. And also, when you are super morbidly obese, you do cause more of a strain on the entire system. Not that you shouldn't be getting treatment, not that you should be denied care, but maybe your premiums should be more. Maybe that should be another motivation for people to stay in a healthy weight range. Not for vanity, not for fascism or whatever people are saying now about why people are losing weight.
I know, but it's just, I go to extremes. Instead of, well, you're fat, so we're gonna have to, to just go, okay, you have extra fat on your body, so here's the solution that has nothing to do with you being whatever.
Except that hormones like that are activated by fat. To say that your hormones have nothing to do with your excessive weight is crazy, delusional, inaccurate, false.
I'm angry.
Literally, in the second doctor, literally nothing was judgmental, nothing was any of that. He was like, you need this. With your body the way it is, you need this.
He literally was just,
thank you, sir. That's what I need.
X plus Y equals Z, and this is what you need. Like, that's it. And the other guy's like, oh, no, just double it.
And I'm like,
bro,
I think it's because I suggested it. I suggested, like, is it a dosage thing? I'm like, you made a medical decision off of a 22, 23-year-old saying maybe it's a dosage issue because I just assumed my body's bigger. I need bigger
22,
pills.
23-year-old.
No, they didn't base it off of that.
Angry, so let's get on to my guy. He's still very much practicing here in Charlotte. He's a urologist. I have always had urology issues. I've always had kidney issues. I was born with a deformed kidney. I have an extra large bladder. I've always had these issues. It is not because I'm fat. I've always had these issues. But it wasn't until 2021, I believe, that I had my very first kidney stone. I did find out later that actually a medication that my previous doctor had put me on, quote unquote, supposed to help me with some mental health stuff, I also found out was kind of covertly supposed to do a little bit of weight loss magic, which I wasn't aware of.
Okay, there can be side effects to medications. That does not mean that this doctor prescribed a medication for you for that reason. It's possible they wanted to prescribe one for you that would be effective and also not promote weight gain like some mental health medications can. There's a sound medical reason to do it. It wasn't nefarious. It wasn't to sneakily try to make you lose weight. It was, how can we treat this with minimal risks? And if one of the possible side effects of this particular medication is weight loss, well, in this person, that's probably a better choice than this one over here, which can cause people to actually gain weight. So you weigh the risks, you weigh the benefits, you look at the possible side effects, you look at the person that is going to be taking this, and you have to say, all right, what's going to be our best option here? It's not black and white, but it's also not what she's portraying it to be.
Can also lead to, helping you develop kidney stones. I digress.
Also, just a little quick Google search here. Morbid obesity significantly increases the risk of developing kidney stones due to metabolic changes that affect urine composition and promote stone formation. Individuals with a higher body mass index BMI are more likely to experience both calcium oxalate and uric acid stones, making weight management an important factor in prevention.
I go in because I have this kidney stone. I went to the ER. I'm going to take it out this afternoon. And I told this man I have taken AZO. I went for surgery that afternoon, and it was unsuccessful. They could not get it out. When I wake up in recovery, is say, you need to lose weight because we had a hard time regulating your anesthesia, or regulating your breathing under anesthesia. And then proceed.
Well, number one, I doubt his bedside manner was that abysmal. That's abysmally bad. I doubt that is what he said. Number two, it is absolutely true. In fact, as we were talking about Anna at the beginning of this, when she had all of her surgeries, they were unable to actually put her under. She had to be in what's called twilight sleep, where she is essentially still conscious. She is just doped up and numbed because she was so big. They could not safely put her under. for anesthesia. So he's not just trying to be a jerk. He's trying to let you know that should you continue to have these kidney stones or any occasion arise that you need to be put under, they might not be able to do it. If they can't regulate your breathing while you are under, you could die. So that's a problem. He is not doing anything except presenting you with facts, and she is angry about the reality. Now, if she can be angry about the way that news was delivered, and of course we don't know objectively how it was delivered, but this is at least how she received that news. But at the end of the day, he's spitting facts. Your weight probably did lead to these kidney stones. Your weight did make it incredibly difficult for them to put you under it with the anesthesia. Where's the lie?
Sir, I told you, you fucked it up. And less than 24 hours later, I was back in the emergency room in septic shock. All of the shit that had been like behind the kidney stone as it was building and building.
See, it's everybody else's fault. Because she was being unable to continue breathing properly when she was under the anesthesia, he probably wasn't able to get it out because they probably said, we have, a maximum of this amount of time that she can be out, and then it's no longer safe for her to be under. I would not at all be surprised if that was the case. Anyone who has seen one episode of My 600-Pound Life knows this.
I literally was dying. First thing that this man tells me upon waking up is not, hey, I'm so sorry, it wasn't successful. Hey, how you doing? Nothing. You need to lose weight because we had a hard time.
Well, doctors see a lot of life and death. And when that's the case here, they don't have time to gently prod you. Not that they should be assholes, but he's got other patients to see too. There's more going on than just making you not feel bad about being morbidly obese. And that morbid obesity causing you health problems, which are causing you then secondary health problems.
Doing our job. Sir, I told you the information that you needed to know. And also, I don't know. So what did I do after that? I decided that was all of my fault. I called up this person I knew who was like a personal trainer. And I told this person, look, I am not going to be successful with like a majorly restrictive, like completely upending my life kind of thing.
I'm not going to be successful if I have to change my diet and my habits. That's what she told this person. If I have to make big changes in my life, I'm not going to be successful. What is it they say about insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So if you don't make these big changes in your life, how is it you're supposed to change your life? I'm just curious.
And what did she do? Put me on a completely restrictive, upending my life kind of thing. And I was paying like a lot of fucking money for this.
But you also have to do your due diligence. Was this some crazy, who was this person? I mean, was it a registered dietitian? Was this some fitness coach for some MLM weight loss thing? Is this what that was? Was this a real, actual person that has a scientific understanding and a responsibility for ethical care and a license? Or is this some person you found on the internet? I kind of think I know which one it was.
But yeah, I basically decided it was all my fault that I almost died because this man said that to me.
Hey guys, she almost died because a doctor said something to her. Can you believe it? That's wild. That's all he did. All he did was say something to her.
Let's talk about Dr. Everett.
Started therapy with Katie. I wasn't ready to talk about a lot, and she got the context without triggering me, without pushing too much. And I started talking to Katie about my relationship with food and my body. For me, it wasn't talking about it like it was a problem. It was an offhanded comment. That's not normal. And she was like, hey, I really think you need to go talk to my friend Taryn. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do another diet right now. I'm so frustrated. So I just was like, no. I'm the type of person that if you just keep pestering me, I will do it to get you to shut the fuck up. If I don't want to do something and you just...
So should we keep telling you that you need to lose weight then? Got it. That's what you said. You need to lose weight, and you do it through eating less.
So I go see Taryn, and Taryn pretty much be like, yeah, there's something going on here. Taryn gets me connected with Dr. Vanessa Everett. I am gonna cry, but Dr. Everett is Dr. Vanessa Everett. And she truly takes care of her people from the appointment all the way through. I've never been able to walk into a doctor's office because I'm sitting there trying to not have a panic attack, you know? And then they want to use that number to like, I literally go as far to go to the firehouse where I feel more safe because my husband is there, so that I can tell people that I don't have blood pressure issues, because I go to the doctor's office and I just want to hyperventilate. Like my whole body is freaking out. White coat syndrome is
Okay. I am just looking this up at this very moment. Dr. Vanessa Everett, MD, family medicine, 10 plus years, 19 reviews on healthgrades.com, an average of 3.4 stars. 53% are 5-star, 5% are 4, 0% for 3-star, 11% for 2-star, and 32% is 1-star. So I have a couple of different ideas here about what kind of people this doctor might pander or cater to. Here's one review, 1-star. She was more interested in moving to the next patient than discussing my issue. She also contradicted herself when giving her quote diagnosis. Here's a 2-star. At first she was very nice and seemed to care, but by the end she ignored me. I felt very hurt and abandoned. This is 2 stars. Unfortunately, although she is a very good doctor, she is pushed to overbill. Visit is brief and rushed. Wait time is long. Interesting.
so real for me. And every single appointment heals a different part of me. Dr. Everett is one of the first doctors to look at my blood work and say, you need to eat more. She looked at my blood work and said, I'm seeing these issues because you are restricting.
I mean, I guess you can be overweight and have some kind of deficiency, but it's not going to be calorically. I would say try to eat a whole foods diet and stay within a certain caloric range. So I don't necessarily know if it was eat more because she's got a lot of excess fat on her body already, but it could have been eat differently, perhaps. Just a thought.
The first doctor to see the whole picture, ask all of the questions before making a judgment.
The first doctor who told me it was okay to eat excessive calories.
And I will put my whole body into this. The only medical advice that I am going to give you is to find a doctor who gives a fuck.
Who enables your delusions.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're fat or skinny. Everyone deserves to have a doctor who cares about them.
Everyone also deserves to have a doctor who's going to be honest with them. Don't point your frickin' finger at me, lady. Coddling people's feelings is not helping them. It is not. Now, there might be different ways of getting the information across, but there are obviously some people who just want to hear what they want to hear, and if they don't hear it in the way they want to hear it, they're gonna say you're the worst person in the frickin' world. Don't put it on the doctors when the issue is you.
And shitty guy with a microphone. That doesn't mean, oh, well, they give a fuck when they tell you to lose weight. Fuck.
Yes, that's exactly what that means. You fucking idiot.
Continue.
Well, I was gonna say, just the fact that, like, you were having blood sugar issues, your blood sugar was going low, you were getting faint, those things.
Yeah, remember that?
And, like,
Oh, was her body having a hard time regulating its insulin levels? Interesting.
whenever I went in and I had something unusual in my blood work, he goes, what'd you have for breakfast this morning?
Jesus Christ.
And the answer for that morning,
Well, did you have your blood work done that morning? Because what you had for breakfast that morning and what kind of lab tests you had, that can affect what those results are. She's saying these things without giving context, but not actually.
literally one
That-
meal. You
that's
know what
it.
I mean? Like,
That's the
well,
answer.
you ate that today. It was, by the way, it was a piece of toast. All right. You ate bread for breakfast today. And I'm like, okay, well, I ate eggs 2 days ago. Like, what the fuck? You didn't ask that.
Honey, nobody thinks you got fat that day. She is missing the forest for the trees here.
You know what I mean? But that's the difference.
After all of these doctors were congratulating me for my body shrinking when I was like, I feel like I'm fucking dying, you told me to go to Dr. Everett. And I went to Dr. Everett. And Dr. Everett was like, are you eating? And when I...
Yeah. I don't think she actually needed you to answer that question.
She's like, are you eating? I was like, I think so. What are you eating? Okay. All right. This feels personal, Dr. Everett, but okay, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Was it ultra processed foods? Was that what you were eating? This is so dumb. These people, this is their echo chamber of delusion and dodging accountability. That's all that this is. They are validating each other's ridiculous beliefs and behaviors.
Yeah. Dr. Everett cared.
Yeah, but how I advocate for myself at Dr. Everett's office is met with open arms.
Yes.
And sometimes that is by asking, hey, let's not take my blood pressure right now. I need a minute to sit in the office.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you, like,
What, I need a minute to sit and get my breathing and heart rate back under control after walking to the office? Is that what you're saying?
These doctors will constantly, oh, well, just lose weight, just have, I had a friend that I was her doctor buddy. We were going to the doctor for her knee, and this doctor right out of the gate was, we need to lose weight, and have you...
Why is it such a stretch for their imagination that having excess body fat is not going to cause issues on their joints? Here's something that I always kind of take a moment and just remember is when you look at people that are like this and like Anna and that kind of a thing. Think about a skeleton. Underneath all of that.
Well, we can't do knee surgery because of your BMI. Okay, what does my BMI have to do with, well, because of the anesthesia. Okay.
The doctors are putting the pieces together for them and they are refusing to see it. The delusion.
But you can put me under anesthesia for weight loss surgery, but not for the knee surgery. Make it fucking make sense.
It's not like with weight loss surgery, you're going to go in the next day. Usually there is some kind of an onboarding program you have to go through. And part of that onboarding is being like, you need to lose a certain amount of weight because, number one, for anesthesia, but two, you have to start changing your behaviors and your mindset and practicing for what it's going to be like post weight loss surgery before you actually get it done. Watch any doctor now, any 600-pound life. This is basic. These are basics.
Make it make sense, because they'll prescribe weight loss surgery all goddamn day long, but then tell you that they can't put you under anesthesia for the actual problem that you're dealing with. Because maybe if my knee didn't hurt so fucking much, maybe I could go on that walk that you think I'm not going on, or what the fuck ever.
There's that circular thinking. There it is. Just fix my knee. If you fix my knee, then I can do the exercise to be healthier. But before that, they can't eat less to lose weight, to reduce the amount of pressure put on those joints. It has to be surgery.
Yeah, I'm a little upset.
yeah.
I'm really sorry you were treated that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm like sitting right now. It's like I started dissociating a little bit because the people don't deserve to be treated like that, period. And people don't...
What, to be told the honest truth? To be told the reality of the situations? These are the people who are saying that they're being infantilized, that they're being treated like children. Well, you live in a freaking fantasy land and you're refusing to see and accept what's real. Maybe that's why.
Doctors will do something harmful, and I understand they have intentions, and their intentions also matter, but you need to also have the intention of wanting to do good and like learn.
Okay, I have this serious issue, especially with people who have this like idea of doctors being like, scheming, conniving, dark people. Guess what? People become doctors because they want to help people. There are some doctors who want to help people and also they like that it can be a lucrative career in, say, plastic surgery, dermatology. These can be very lucrative fields of being a doctor, right? the vast majority of doctors, not only that I've ever dealt with, like, you know, professionally, but as friends, as people, they just want to help people. Do you have any idea what it takes to become a doctor? It takes a lot. It's mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. It's financially exhausting. You don't even want to know how much debt a lot of these doctors graduate with, okay? And they do it because they want to help people. That's why. They don't do it because they want to call you fat or make you feel bad about yourself. They don't do it just to write prescriptions so they can get a bigger paycheck, which, by the way, that's not really a thing like people think it's a thing. They want to help take care of people and help make the world, or at least their little pocket of it, healthier, better, less diseased. That's who doctors are. These people have made doctors out to be the frickin' boogeyman, when in reality, they're just holding up a mirror to them and saying, look.
How sad and impactful, and also I'm just like really sitting in I feel the quote unquote, you deserve to be attacked because of the body you're in, and it's harmful.
The disconnect here is so wild. Quote, you deserve to be attacked for the body that you're in. Okay, well, you know, you're not a crab. You didn't just flop into that body. You created that body, for better or for worse. Somebody who is a bodybuilder didn't just happen into that body. That wasn't an accident. They didn't just wake up one day and they were in that body. Guess what? The choices that they made every day over the course of time leads to their body looking the way that it is. And if they were to change those behaviors, their body would also change along with it. Because it turns out that what we eat and the exercise that we do has a direct impact on what our bodies look like to the outside. Okay? And so when somebody is super morbidly obese, we know their diet looks a certain way and that their exercise looks a certain way. In the same way that we know that Mr. Olympia spends a lot of time at the gym. His whole life is just about his diet and probably also a lot of steroids. Or gear, I guess, as people say. It's no different. So when people say you can't tell someone's health by looking at them, yeah, for some things that's true. But there are some things that you absolutely can tell. Being super morbidly obese, that's going to tell me a lot about someone.
It's hurtful.
Yeah.
It's hurtful.
Yeah. And
she wanted you to feel shame.
Good. Yeah, it's not for our own good, because you know what happened? I hid that from everybody in my life except for a couple friends. I only told my fat friends, hid it from my thin friends, hid it from my family. They probably never knew I had a disability tag.
You want to know why? Because they wouldn't validate her in this. Because they would probably give a reasoned approach to it. They would lay it out just like I did. They would say, oh, I see her point. I see the doctor's point. They wouldn't allow the same level of reality denial that her fat friends do, because that's where they all are in some way, shape, or form.
For a little bit. And at work, I would park and make sure no one I knew could see me before I walked out of that space. Bubble of shame.
No, she weaponized shame against you.
Yeah.
She weaponized it.
All of us might need disability support at some, like, it's just, it sucks ass.
Yeah, but the likelihood of that is much, much higher if you remain super morbidly obese.
And see, that's the thing for me too. That's the thing for me too, is that there's so many fucking people that will come for us online and point at us and all of this shit, but nobody's immune from a disability, whether you're born with it or this is very morbid, but you could get in a car crash tomorrow.
Yeah, and so could you. But you know what's not going to happen overnight? I'm not going to be 150 pounds overweight overnight. That's just how that works. You didn't get that way overnight either. This is so stupid that they are equating their super morbid obesity, which they are responsible for, with a disability. That is gross and that is offensive. If they are the ones who have gotten themselves to the place where they need a disability tag because that's how big they are now, sure, it's a disability. But don't pretend like it was put upon you, like you had nothing to do with it, because that's a lie. You shouldn't be perpetually punished for it. You shouldn't have to suffer because of it. This is the thing. I don't want these people to be in the obvious discomfort, misery, pain that they are in. I don't want that for them. I don't want that for anyone. And the reason I don't like them so much, a big part of it is because they're encouraging people to stay that way. They're convincing themselves to stay that way. They're convincing each other to stay that way. And they're convincing other people to stay that way too. That's what makes this so disgusting. Because they are the ones convincing people that it's okay. You're fine. If you're miserable, that's okay. Just find a doctor that won't hurt your feelings about it. Just find friends who will validate that it's not your fault, that there's nothing you can do, that you should eat whatever you feel like eating. That's okay. It's okay to consistently eat more than what you need to the point that you're struggling to breathe walking from the parking lot to your office. That's fine. And how dare anybody say anything about that? How dare they? That's all this is for these people. It's an echo chamber of delusion. These are not your friends.
To treat people as disposable and as fucking punching bag for your insecurities.
If people actually thought of them as disposable, you want to know what they would be doing? Absolutely nothing. We would say, great, you want to be this way? Fucking do it. Go ahead. It won't be long now. No, people are saying something because they care, because they don't think that you are disposable, because they think that there is something valuable in you that is worth fighting for, that is worth saying something that might hurt your feelings if it means you get to live a better and a longer life. And this is the thing that they can't seem to put together.
It's just the most disgusting, honestly lazy behavior. And again, I am looking at you,
The nerve.
YouTube reaction,
The lazy
content people. You honestly should be ashamed of yourselves. And I know that you want us to be ashamed of ourselves, but all we're doing is trying to put out kindness into the world and tell people
It's not kindness. It's delusion, and it's harmful. That is the problem.
that they can't advocate for themselves, that they matter.
They do matter. They absolutely can advocate for themselves. Just try to make sure that what they're advocating for is based in reality and not delusion.
Everybody deserves a little fucking empathy.
Yeah. And everybody also deserves to be told the truth about things. The pause party is absolutely vicious right there. Kind of diabolical. Yeah, you're right. People deserve things. And they deserve accurate information. They deserve to not be gaslit and lied to, regardless of if that hurts their feelings or not. And if it hurts so bad, then you really need to go to therapy and deal with that. And as you deal with it, naturally, you'll probably also lose some weight. Crazy idea, I know.
We do need to wrap it.
Do you know how many times I flipped off these people? Zero. Okay, I'm just done. I'm done with these people. I feel like I've talked this thing to death, but I think this gives a lot of examples about the double negatives, the delusional thinking, the moving of the goalposts, the double standards, and the dodging of responsibility that they have. This is all a mental game. It's all a mental game. Battles are won or lost, all up in your head. Everything is mental. And they are still doing gymnastics in there, big time. There is a lot to unpack. I'd be really interested if you even made it this far, like any of your opinions or anything that stands out. There was certainly quite a bit there. I don't even know how much of this will even be, because there's just, it's kind of like it's the same things over and over. We know what it is. It's delusion. It's mitigating responsibility. It's dodging accountability. This is what it is. We just got to see it take so many different forms in this. We got a lot of different specific examples of this. That's all that this is. But it is important, I think, to look at these things sometimes, because it does hold a mirror up to ourselves. It forces us to think about, do I do those things in my life somewhere? Where in my life maybe I'm making too many excuses? It helps keep us accountable when we're able to look at other people. Anyway, go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you'd like, all of the engagement type things. That'd be awesome. This was wild. I don't like these people. I mean, not necessarily like as human beings, but that was a really, really painful, infuriating, frustrating thing. And I still, at this moment, 2 hours and 20 minutes into recording, have compassion for them. I can't say that I haven't also been just as delusional in one way or another when it came to realizing my own part in my life. None of us are as helpless as we convince ourselves that we are. Not at all. All right. I'm going to leave it there. Take care. See you next time. Bye.